Hello guys, hopefully you're doing well. Harry here, and this is another video on data analysis. So we're still gonna walk through pre-processing, right? So let's begin. So first thing first, you can see this is the data we are working today. We have customer data, we have balance, we have income, we have limit. That's basically the credit limit. We have credit rating, we have a card, age, education, gender, right, and of course is a student or not, right, is married, and the ethnicity, right. So we're gonna load this data set, right? So for that, first thing first, I'm gonna use a Google Colab, right? So you can use Jupyter Notebook, or you can use Anaconda Cloud System. So just need to uh, make it clear that we are doing a block coding, and for that block coding I'm using interactive Python notebook, right. So guys, I'm gonna import my library first. I'm gonna import my essential library. I'm gonna start with the NumPy, and I'm gonna import the pandas. I'm gonna import Seaborn and Matplot, right? And I'm gonna import warning, just to filter out those. And I'm gonna import something known as Skippy. It's like a scientific Python, right? So Skippy, let me show you what Skippy is, right? So if you type a Skippy, so you can see over here Skippy. That's what we're looking for. Skippy is an open source Python library used for scientific computing and technical computing. So Skippy its actually full name is Scientific Python, right? So you can go through the documentation over here, and now you can see what kind of thing we can do with this. There's a lot of mathematical computation we can do from this library. So another thing I'm gonna add is I'm gonna add MLX stand, and from MLX stand, okay, I'm gonna add all of these, right. So uh associate rules, and I'm gonna add, sorry, pre-processing. So oops, not this one. And min max scaling, and that's it. So I'm just gonna run this library, right. So I'm just gonna make a v note over here for importing, oops, sorry, importing libraries. And the second I'm gonna specify is loading in loading data set, right. So to load the data set, I'm gonna use pandas again, right. You can use the Python, but I'm just gonna use the pandas again. So pd dot read csv, so we're gonna treat this as a csv file. So this is the balance dot text, so balance dot txt, but I have to define this a raw, right. That's for r over here. And definitely I need to use delimiter, right. You know what, white space. Okay, should, oops, sorry, I forgot to use pd instead of I have to use pr. So I'm just gonna run this. I'm gonna run the head. So should give me the print of the top five. Yeah, so those are the print of the top five. So now we can see, like, we have used the pandas data frame reader, right, and we have used it to read our text file, right. So we have used a delimiter with the white space, right. So tf dot tail, I'm going to run this, and now you can see over here we can have the bottom of those, right. So bottom of those five rows, right. So I'm just gonna write one more thing over here. I'm gonna say third one, right? Pre-processing. Okay, so let's go through few of those code to check like how many missing value we have and like what are the data types and how many rows and columns we have. So let's inspect our data set, right? So first thing first, right? I'm just gonna make a comment on the top of this, right? From here, I'm gonna say loading top five data, sorry, loading top five rows, right? Loading bottom five rows, right? So now I'm gonna check total, oops, total rows and columns. So that will be df dot shape. So we have 400 rows and 11 columns, right? So df, oh sorry, data types, right? So df dot d types. So now you can see over here our balance is object, income is object, limit is object, rating is float 64, cards is float 64, age is float 64, education is float 64, and those all are objects. So these are string, right? These are string, and the float 64 is basically a numerical value, right? You can see over here. So student, married, ethnicity, gender, right? So gender, student, married, ethnicity, those are defined as an object, right? So okay, so let's check df uh sorry, let's check let's say data frame. It's just an extra bit, right? Data frame information, right? For that you can say df dot info and open and close parentheses, and you can just run this. Now you can see over here it will show you the columns name, right? And of course those are the index for the columns, right? And after that non null count, those are the non null count, right? And we have also have the sorry, data types over here, right? So it shows the total entries 400, right? And yeah, there we go. So let's check the missing value now. Missing values, right? So df dot is null, open and close parentheses, dot sum, right? So now you can see that those are the missing value we have. The highest amount of missing value we have over here is on limit. Then we go for the rating and ethnicity, then age, right? And if I want to sum up the all the missing value, total missing values inside our data set. So when you're making a command, so don't worry about it need to be very professional. It need to be such a way that you should understand what we are doing, right? So once you provide a document or your Jupyter notebook to somebody else, they should also able to understand why you are writing this code, right? So this is saying 78. We have uh, total missing value uh, inside our data set, right? But see, uh, if you want to make it very professional, right? Let's say you have a lot of plenty of time, you can use a f string. You can say like something like this, right? F and quote and open and close parentheses, right? Let's say, oops, sorry. Let's say total missing value inside our data set, right? Just gonna copy this. I'm just gonna paste this and can run this. Now you can see how it says total missing value inside our data set is this, right? Okay, so I'm just gonna run this again one more time. Right, guys, since we know that total missing value inside our data set is 78, right? And we know like each of the columns, like how many missing value is over there. So this should be the first step during any data analysis, right? Depending on the data source, missing data are identified differently, right? So pandas identified missing value as nan. However, unless the data has been pre-processed to a degree that an analyst will encounter missing values as nan. Missing value can appear as a question mark or a zero, right, or a -1 or a blank. So it is important to view and understand your data before anything else. So we are going to use this data set, right, for the five observation. We can see that there are several missing value. They can be represented as nan, right? Just 2 seconds, something is wrong with this. Okay, that's cool, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look after the column first, right? So I'm gonna go to the columns, and you can see over here I have those columns. I'm gonna convert them into the lower case, and same gonna check the white space over there. And now I'm gonna rerun this, right? So now I have removed any white space by chance over there, and I have converted them into the small case letter, right? So right now I'm gonna create this thing again, right? So this thing in a more manual way, so I can calculate the percentage. So for that, what I can do is I will say missing values. So I want to keep everything into the snake case, right? So count equal to df dot is null dot sum, right? So missing count. So that's my missing count, right? So what I'm gonna do next is after declaring a variables, right? So I'm gonna say total cells, right? Total cells equal to np. I'm gonna use a numpy dot product, right? Numpy dot product. So df dot shape. So this will be the product of the all the total cell, right? So I'm gonna say total missing. Total missing is equal to missing values count dot sum. I'm gonna sum of all of them, right? So now I'm gonna use a simple formula that will be total missing divided by total cell into 100, right? So for that I'm gonna keep them inside the parentheses just to follow the BODMAS rule in, right, so in this block of the code. So now I'm gonna use a f string, right, to make it nice. Total missing uh total missing values in term of percentage is right. So I don't have other very like other way to justify it, so I want to make it very precise. So I'm just gonna say total missing value in term of percentage is okay, so this much, and I can put round, right? So I'm just gonna put a round, and I'm gonna keep till 4 decimal point, right? And I'm gonna give a percentage symbol over here. So now it will say total missing value in term of percentage is 1.7727 percentage, right? Little bit space. I can give like 2 decimal point. Yeah, 1.77%, right? Okay, so next I'm gonna do is drop missing values, right? Right. So we are working with a missing value, then we have basically percentage, uh, what should I name this? Percentage of data that is missing. Can say something like that, right? Just a simple comment. So okay, now we are working with the drop missing value, so we're gonna drop the missing value. One option you have is to remove any row or column that contain missing value, right? So this strategy is not generally recommended for data set with the important or sensitive data of data set with a small number of observation. It is usually worth it to take the time to go through your data and really look at all columns with missing value to read I'm like to read and get through understanding your data set, right? But if you are sure you want to drop rows with missing values, pandas does have a handy functions drop na. So drop na, we have functions in pandas, right, which can help us to do that. And let's try it out, and let's try with the code, right? So let's say df, let's make a temporary data frame, right? So I will say df tmp, right, and I'm going to say df dot drop na, right? So I'm going to drop it, right? So I'm going to drop all the missing values, right? So if I say temp dot is null dot sum, right? So now you can see over here, oops, sorry, uh forgot the open and close parentheses. I can see over here I have dropped all the missing value over here, right? So we have removed all the missing value over here. So I'm gonna say over here something like uh creating a temporary data set, right? And dropping all missing values, right? Okay, so now as we can observe, like, so let's we can observe that all of them has been removed. So I'm just gonna look after the data frame. So temperature dot head. So I'm gonna look after the top five of them. So now you can see in the top five of them, as you can observe, uh, in this index number, right? So from 0 to 3 has been removed. Now we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So it has dropped all those rows which has the null values, right? So the above process basically removed our observations. Now let's look into removing columns, right? So right, guys, so now we will try to remove all the null value from the columns, right? So what I have did over here is I have declared a new data frame, right, which is data frame temporary 2, and I have stored the original data frame inside that, and have printed the top 5. So now you can see over here those are the removing all dropping, sorry, dropping all those missing values. But now, like you can see from here, when we have the original one start from the 0, right? So what thing we have to do next is I'm gonna say like remove all uh columns remove all columns with at least one missing value, right? So I'm gonna do that with the columns with and a dropped, right? So well, the AI has automatically suggested me, right? So but the code is correct. So it says data frame temporary 2, right, which is our data frame, right, dot drop. So we have to define the axis, right, axis equal to 1, right? So when we gonna run this, now you can see over here, now we have left with only with balance. So what is the reason we have left only with balance, right? So now you can see, if you can move on to our previous block of the code. So these are the original missing value count we have made earlier, where you can see balance has 0 missing values, where all those columns has certain amount of missing values, they have at least one missing value. So because of that, our code has removed all those missing values, and to remove those all those missing value, they have removed whole the column, right? So we're not looking after 6 or 15 or 11 missing values, but any columns which has one single missing value will be treated as a missing columns, and it will be removed, right? So only balance is left over because balance had zero missing values, right? Okay, guys, so let's move into another step. So another step we are working on is filling in missing values automatically, right? So we are working into more about the imputation. So guys, for that I'm just gonna copy this again, right? So I'm just gonna paste over here, and I'm gonna rename this the third one, right? So this third temporary data frame, right? So I'm just gonna load this again. So we can use the pandas fill and a functions to fill the missing value in a data frame. So one options we have is to specify what we want the and sorry 9 values to be replaced with. So here we can replace with 9 with 0, right? So if you want to replace the 9 with 0, let's say replace 9 with 0, right? Or let's say 0, right? So it's basically 0. It's not zero. We're gonna use a 0. I just trying to be more dramatic over here, right? So yeah, df temporary 3 dot fill and a 0, right? So I'm gonna call the head, right? So now you can see over here there's the nan, right? See the nan that's been replaced with the 0. Same the nan on the age on the first row, that has been replaced with the 0. Now you can see on the student also that's been 0 over here. On the gender with the nan that's been replaced with the 0, right? That's pretty much simple, right? Right, guys, so now we were gonna work into the backward fill, right? And uh, for that I'm just gonna copy this again, right? I'm just gonna create more data frame over here, right? So I'm just gonna name this fourth, right? And I'm gonna put this into 10. uh at least let's take like 20 heads so we have more clarity, right? So okay, I'm gonna make a so fill. Now I'm gonna make a backward fill, right? So backward fill for missing values, right? So I'm gonna say sorry, df temp 4 dot fill na, right? Method, so b fill, right? And we have to define the axis equal to 0, right? Dot fill na 0 dot head. I'm gonna put 20 of them on the print. So yeah, okay, that has been the filled, right? So let's start from here. Age, right? So another is 82, right? So before that is n, right? So now you can see over here is 82 and 82, right? So let's say this one, that's the third row. On the rating we have nan, another is 681. So there we go, the third one 681. So 681, now you can see over there, right? So similarly let's do random check, right? Randomly check something missing one, there we go, right? So let's take 11, right? So basically that is your 12th row, because 0 is our first index. Let's say 11 as a 12th, right? But let's consider as 11 right now to not cause any confusion. So now you can see on the gender is nan, so it should be filled with the female, okay? So 11, so there we go, guys, it's filled with the female, right? So that's how this thing work, right? So another one is I'm gonna copy this again, right? I'm gonna create into a fifth, right? So I'm gonna do a forward filling, right? So for forward filling, uh same concept, right? I'm gonna just define df temp 5 dot fill na method, right? F fill x is equal to 0 dot fill na 0, right? Dot head, I'm gonna print 20 in front of my screen. So let's start something from here, right? The second one, right? So it says NaN. So it's 483 on the previous one, and the 681 on the another column. Sorry, another row. So now you can see over here 483 and 483. So that's the forward filling. So whichever come first, right? So that will be filled inside NaN values, side inside the missing value, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So we have worked through the first how to impute with the 0, right? So fill all the missing value with the 0. Then we have worked with something called backward filling, right? So that's the method. Then we have worked something called forward filling, right? So guys, let's move on into another one, which is called mean, median and mode imputations, right? Right, guys, this is our last topic, which is mean, median, and mode imputations, right? So, we are using the central tendency, right? So, if you guys are familiar with the statistics, so we are using the mean, median, and the mode for imputations. We are gonna impute those missing value with the mean, median, and mode, right? But it's depend for numerical values. We're gonna use the mean or median, right? For categorical values such as string, we're gonna use a more imputation, right? So the imputation technique work really well with when the values are missing completely at random. One disadvantage is that the mean imputation reduce variance in the data set, right? So guys, let's move on. Let me show you around, right? So see over here, you can see those A's and a card. Those are our numerical value, right? So over here you can see those are the missing. So we can use a histoplot to plot this. If we see a histoplot and we see a perfect bell curve, right, and if still there's a missing value on the perfect bell curve, then we can use a mean imputations. But if any of this column which show the skewed bell curve, where you can see the tail and the head, right, then you need to do median imputations, right? It's depend on the nature, you can see over here. And when it's come to a gender, there's a categorical, right? So for this imputations we have to use mode is more about the more occurring, right? And we have used over here mean and median, because mean is the average and the median is of course the middle value, right? So middle value only work with the skewed data, but average only work with the perfect distribution, right? uh Distribution curve, right? So first thing first, we can see over here it says df dot columns, which give me the all those columns name. Then I have checked the missing values, right? Inside the missing values, especially on the specific column, I'm gonna check the data types, right? Now you can see the data types over here, right? In the data types, we have defined object and a float, right? With this df dot d types, so it's give me those numericals as well as categorical, right? So the categorical will impute with the mode, and numerical will be imputed with the nature of the plot, so it will be mean or median. So I'm gonna convert those float into an integer, right? I'm gonna check my data types, it will show me the integers over here, right? And after that I'm just gonna select those float and integers columns with the help of this df dot select data types, which will include float 64 and integer 64, right? uh, I'm just gonna plot this, right? After plotting, you can see the nature of the plot. So rating has the skewed, right? Same card has a skewed. Age has little bit distribution curve, so this will be median, this will be mod. And education look little bit skewed, but still it is little bit between the skewed and perfect distribution. So I will use a mean on this, right? So for rating, I'm gonna of course gonna use a median, and card also gonna use a median. So I will select those column, right, and it's gonna use the same method like above, dot fill na, and gonna define the median right over here with the formula. So df rating dot median, right, open and close parenthesis, that will give me the median value, and I'm gonna impute all with the fill na, right, same on the card. And with the education, same, I'm gonna select the mean, right, but we have to define the integers over here, right. So I'm just gonna run this. So now I'm gonna say df dot is null, so sum. So you can see over here we have imputed those uh, integers data types, right. So now I'm gonna iterate through the columns, right, and I'm gonna see what are the mode values, right. So if I iterate through each of those leftover mode 9 values, right, sorry, those categorical values, right. So I'm gonna find the mode for them. So now you can see over here, those are the modes, right. Those are the modes. Female is the modes, no is the mode, yes is the mode. So these are the mode occurring inside the each columns, right. So married, it said yes, student, it says no, gender, it says female is the most, right, and ethnicity, it says Koskins is the mode, right. So same limit, it has some values 2120, right. So I'm gonna impute this, right. After impute this, I'm just gonna check the all the missing values. So yeah, there we go. So if I'm gonna run my data frame, now you can see like we have impute all of them, and it's now really good to do EDA, right? So exploratory data analysis. Now you can do visualization, and now you can make your decision with the help of the plot, right? So hopefully you enjoyed watching this video. I will provide this Jupyter notebook into my GitHub repository, and same time. If there's any questions or if there's any doubt, then please provide me into the comment section, and I will get back to you. And guys, I'll see you in the next section of the data analysis, right guys. So I will see you later, and peace.